Hey all, so after quite a long wait, I'm happy to say that Marvel Platinum has finally released. And this is a card set from Upper Deck that I painted 5 pieces for back in the spring of 2022. With the art finally public, I thought I'd hop on and talk a bit about both the paintings and my experience working on it. My memory is that I was contacted around April of 2022 by Sam Padilla, who had been my art director on Masterpieces. And she told me that they had this new premium set in the works and they were wondering if I'd be available for 3 cards. I loved painting Marvel Masterpieces. I mean, it was a dream job. Just painting Marvel characters is something that I always wanted to do growing up and now really connects me with the excitement and joy that I felt as a kid. I think it might be the first art that I was ever really exposed to, or at least the first that I recall. And it taps into something really pure for me. So could I take 3? I asked, can I take 5? And so they sent me a list, and it was a list of all of the available unassigned characters, and that was super fun. The first thing that jumped out to me was Doctor Doom. When I was painting Marvel Masterpieces, Fantastic Four was unavailable. It was tied up in some kind of legal red tape. I don't quite know. And basically, I couldn't do the Fantastic Four or any of the associated characters. But between that set and Platinum, I guess they resolved whatever those issues were, and Doctor Doom was on this list of available pieces. And I could not return that email fast enough to say, yes, I want Doctor Doom, and then which other 4. So unfortunately, Reed Richards and Sue Storm were already claimed or assigned elsewhere. If I had been able to just do the Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom, that's absolutely what I would have done. But the Human Torch and Thing were on there, and so I took those 2. And then I took War Machine and Spider-Gwen. I took War Machine because he's another character that I thought would be really fun to paint that I didn't get to do in Masterpieces. And Spider-Gwen just because she's just so much fun to paint. I just really enjoy doing that particular character. On any of the spider characters, I like to play around with the acrobatics and try to find that sense of tumbling and falling and swinging. I like the idea of these characters having this perfect spatial awareness and immunity to motion sickness. I think I watched some videos of Olympic gymnasts for inspiration, seeing how they flow and twist, and I wanted that grace and motion, and then flip the background into this upside down, disorienting view. The painting actually works right side up or upside down because in either case we have a familiar point of reference. And to get these buildings, I actually went walking around Philadelphia looking up for good shapes, basically. And I found these on the north side of Rittenhouse, and I just thought they were perfect. So I shot a bunch of photos and then, just worked it all out, just nudging every shape around, refining the pose until everything was just so. And I wanted to give the light this pretty golden shade, like lots of warm tones. For War Machine, I wanted to show him as this ominous silhouette with the glowing red eyes, chest, and palms, and that background just this fiery, smoky mass. The suit's such a cool design, I just focused on that. Like a really clean pinup poster image. Probably what I think really makes it work is the cool bounce light we're seeing in the face and body against that warm, reddish, orangey, fiery edge light. Showing it now, if I were to paint it today, I think the one change I might make is to have a few of those missile tubes empty. For the Thing, I wanted to do the early Kirby lumpy oatmeal version. And the idea is pretty clear, Thing running into a fight with the suggestion of a city street, maybe a bit demolished behind him. And I really wanted to throw in that Yancey Street reference. I honestly don't remember what the origin of the Yancey Street thing is, but there were these kids called the Yancey Street Gang, and they would always taunt and heckle the Thing and throw stuff at him. I always thought it was such a funny running gag with the Thing being this mopey guy who's always feeling really put upon and surrounded by his super optimist teammates all the time, and then to have these neighborhood kids calling him a sellout and whatever on top of it. So I wanted to do something that at least like nodded to that. Human Torch is one of the ones that I just felt like I am just made for this one. Painting fire is something I really enjoy, and like on War Machine, I want to do this like a really bold, clean poster image coming right at us, dead on, bold shapes, bold colors, and again in that early Fantastic Four style of the dark red body with these flames licking off. I was just so happy with this one. I really felt like I was in the groove on it. And then Doctor Doom. So, okay. Sometimes you wish for something and then you get it and it's a bit of an oh shit moment. I wanted to do Doctor Doom so bad. And then I just kept feeling like I didn't like any of my ideas. I went and dug out my Marvel Essentials volumes. I reread the original Doom stories. I looked at the original Secret Wars. Just going back through all the stuff that made me such a fan of this character. And in the end, I decided to do just a badass power pose Doom. Just that low angle hero shot of this imposing figure with this cool costume, the classic version, cape flowing, dynamic light, and put him in a Gothic castle because that was always such a part of his weird vibe. And then have this electricity crackling all around him. Like, Doom doesn't exactly have powers the way that some other villains do, but he's super smart and a scientist. He's always using weapons that I assume he designed and built. And I had the idea of, like, he's almost like standing inside a Tesla coil or something with his posture almost lifting up and these bolts of lightning zapping all around him. So that was how I decided to go on that one. So I planned these out and I did my sketches, which are little monochromatic 5x7 paintings. And they look pretty much identical to the finals because the sketches sailed right through. As I recall, I don't think there were any notes or feedback other than approved, go on to the finish. And because there were only 5 pieces to worry about, and I really wanted to nail each one, I decided to do them all 18 by 24, which is kind of big for a trading card, but I knew that I could do really cool pieces at that size. And I'm just super happy with how they turned out. And now that the set is released in public, it's really fun to start to see people discovering these in the packs and see the images finally showing up and finally being able to share those images. Another cool thing is that unlike masterpieces, I think that these cards are actually going to be something that you can like buy at Target or something, which means they're not just for collectors, but like hopefully that, you know, younger folks and kids can collect them the way I remember doing when I was a kid in the 90s with the Jim Lee X-Men original masterpieces and other card sets that were coming out at that time that I was just so into. So it's always such a good feeling to be a part of one of these sets. And I'm really, really happy to see it finally out in the world.